Jury consultant Susan Constantine.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. Consultant and body language expert Susan Constantine.
Susan Constantine, body language expert.
Jury consultant and Supreme Court County Mediator Susan Constantine.
Susan Constantine is a body language expert and also does voice analysis.
Before we get started, each and every one of you, since you're in here at the courthouse, you need to be sworn in before you can even get involved. So raise your right hand and repeat after me. The whole truth? The whole truth. Nothing but the truth? Nothing but the truth. So help me God. So help me God. Hold your hand up. Keep your hand up. Look at your partner next to you. Are your fingers wide open? Are they closed? This one's waving. Is your wrist bent back? Or is it coming forward? Okay, everyone get a really good look at your partner next to you, because I'm going to tell you if that person's going to lie to you. Imagine if you had the ability to read verbal objections of your customers before they're actually expressed. Would that be helpful? Right? Imagine if you're sitting there at a conference room and you're now presenting a contract for the first time and you are able to read their facial expressions and know exactly what they're thinking. Would that be helpful? We know now that we communicate through our body language to 55%, 38% is just in our voice intonation. There's a case that I'm working on right now that all I am doing is just listening in on just the voice and the words, tying it together. Does it sound deceptive? Does it really fit? And the last one is words. That's only 7% of how we communicate is through our words. So what people are actually saying really don't hold a lot of weight to it, because the other 93% is much more important. Do you agree? Yes. So the first thing you want to do is what we call norming. Norming is just that 5-minute introduction. You just sit and chit-chat with them. You find out about stuff about them, what's going on, the weather, you know, just kind of the ambiguous stuff that's not going to increase the anxiety, okay? You use that as your baseline, and that's what we call their norm. That's when they're not under stress. That's the norm. Then you compare everything to that norm, and that is when you're starting now to note for your shifts and your changes, okay? So when let's say you're in a negotiation, you've already established their norm, the kind of opening 5-minute statement, and just chit-chatting along, and now you're talking about how much it's going to cost. You see them shift. What does that tell you? How to read those little micro flashes of facial expression. So you're going to actually see a video of what that really looks like, because every single muscle in your face is telling a story. And when you're with a customer or with a client or with an employee, you're able to read those little micro expressions that actually tie together, tells you what they're thinking and feeling.
A person's words, tell only half the story. A person's body language often says so much more. And in a political debate, body language can mean the difference between winning and losing.
Unless you knew what to look for.
He feels very threatened by them.
Susan Constantine doesn't read between the lines.
Every time he flashes his eyebrows like that, he's constantly trying to convince you.
She reads the lines on your face.
They can't control their facial muscles. There's so much worry in his forehead. Their body language can betray their words. And so what I'm looking for is little micro expressions that are flashes of concealed emotions that they can't conceal.
And Charlie Crist.
Every time he flashes his eyebrows like that, he's constantly trying to convince you. Believe me, trust me, I'm begging you.
Sometimes body language is overt. When Susan noticed the governor wasn't making eye contact.
Well, he doesn't want to make eye contact with him because it's his adversary.
She wasn't the only one.
You can't even look at me when I tell you these things.
The one I felt that was most trustworthy was Rubio. Okay. The second one would have been Meek, and the third would have been Crist.
Have you ever been on a date and wondered if the other person was telling you the truth, or what kind of impression you were making on a job interview?
Well, they say actions speak louder than words, so what are you really saying with your body? Here to help us decipher what you may be telling others is body language expert Susan Constantine.
Hi,
hey, Susan. How are you?
Good morning. What we're trying to do with people that we don't know, does the words fit with the body language? Does the body language fit with the facial expression? Does it all tie together and say the same thing?
Is that why we sort of sense something from somebody, because their words and their actions are not in sync? We don't know why, but something's a little off.
And that's a perfect example, because it just doesn't fit. I mean, all of us have had some point in time in our life where we've been duped, right? We've been lied to. We trusted them, we believed them, and we found out they were lying to us the whole time. But when we use our gut intuition, we thought something doesn't feel right. Go by the gut. Those everyday lies, the ones where there's no fear of being caught, okay? There's no reward from it. Those are everyday lies. People can do those quite seamlessly, and it's very hard to detect if someone's lying.